Good morning. Yeah, it's 11 a.m. and I decided to get up. I think the only reason I got up was to use the toilet. So, this is going to be an introduction video because I realized I haven't done one. And I'm also going to talk about something about me. That was very descriptive. Before I do that, you're noticing that I'm wearing my sunglasses. One of my subscribers, who apparently really enjoys my videos, suggested the sunglasses because that way I don't have to worry about whether or not I'm looking at the camera. I could be looking like at the Apple logo on my phone or at the window or at a little lizard or something, and it's like you'll never know. Anyway, introduction. My name is Dee. That's my nickname. I am 29 years old, so almost 30. I live in San Juan, Puerto Rico, where my family is from. I currently study at night in law school. This is hopefully my last year of law school because it is torture and I hate myself. And during the day, I have a normal adult job. It's not glamorous, but it makes money, and I can pay bills and pay rent and pay the car and not die of starvation. Asides that, don't know what else to say. I enjoy writing, as I mentioned. I'm in terms of blogging and just storytelling. Sorry, I keep fidgeting. I also, I like music. This feels like one of those introductions you give in a classroom on the first day of class. It's like, everybody stand up, say your name and something you like. And it's like, oh, shut the fuck up. Clearly, though, I also like playing video games. It's something that I sort of fell off the wagon for some years because of reasons. But now that I'm getting, I suppose, better in terms of mental health, and now that I have a nice TV, and now that I have two very good consoles, I'm getting back in it. And I guess that's it for now. I'm pretty sure I will let tidbits of me out as the weeks go on, as I keep making videos. I really should have taken off my glasses, but I need to see. Anyway, so the thing I want to talk about. One of the things about me that has shaped me as a person for most of my life is the fact that I am a type 1 diabetic. I make the distinction because there are two types and people get confused because type 2 is a little more common. And that's fine. At this point, it's like, whatever. But type 1 diabetes, if you don't know, is when your pancreas tells you to go fuck yourself and it stops making insulin for you. Insulin is something you need so that way the carbohydrates you eat get processed into energy into your cells. No insulin, you probably will end up dead. Wow, that was morbid, wasn't it? But it's the truth. So, as a type 1 diabetic, at least me, I inject insulin several times a day, anywhere from 4 to 7 times a day, depending on my blood sugar and whether or not I'm eating a meal. It's not negotiable. I've had someone, I remember once someone on Facebook put up a link about type 2 diabetes and said something along the lines of, oh wow, you mean you can't cure something like this with exercise? I thought you could. So I corrected her and said, it's like, well, that depends. If it's type 2, diet and exercise sometimes aren't enough, but when it's type 1, you do need to inject insulin, otherwise you die. And she was like, well, I respect your opinion. I'm like, it's not an opinion, it's the truth. Then again, she's also like an anti-vaxxer, and I have very strong opinions about that, so. But the point is, I have been a diabetic, a type 1 diabetic, since I was a tender 10 years old, so that makes 19 years. No, 18. It's been 18 years. And it's such a weird thing because once you get so used to something, it almost doesn't matter after a time. Like, it fades into background noise almost. But it is certainly something that does shape me and even the things I do every day, no matter how much I try to not make a big deal out of it. Things like I can't leave the house without insulin. I need at least a small bag to carry it. So that means no spontaneous trips unless I make sure I have enough insulin to cover it. That means things like my insurance saying, oh, we can't refill your insulin yet because you've used too much of it. And it's like, guys, motherfuckers, I use insulin when I need it because I don't want to die. So that also means buying insulin at Walmart that isn't the type of insulin I use, and then constantly having my blood sugar too high or too low. Thankfully, I've not ended up in an emergency room, but I've ended up incredibly sick, especially like in the last few weeks. Um, it's also like little things of like the complications you get when you're a type 1 diabetic, no matter how well you care for yourself. I don't take that good care of myself, admittedly, but that's because I've been on both sides. You know, I've been on the side of where I spend months taking excellent care of myself, and my endocrinologist is still like, oh, your blood sugar's still been too high all these months, you really need to try to lower it. And I've been on the flip side where where I spend months just doing the bare minimum because I can't really be fucked to do more. Because diabetes is very stressful. You know, it's the spectrum of death hanging over you and all the complications. You know, getting neurological damage, um, neuropathy. That's what it's called. Nephropathy is the kidney damage. I forget how to pronounce it. So on, so on, so on, so forth. And it's very stressful because, at least in the medical diabetic circuit, they drill into you. You have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself. You have to fucking put on insulin, and you have to take your blood sugar, and you have to do exercise, and you have to eat a very nice diet, and maybe you won't get complications. But then when you don't do any of that, or when you fuck up a little bit, it's like, oh, I can't believe it. Oh no, you have to do something about this. How dare you? And it's like, man, go fuck yourselves. Most of the people who are, who treat diabetes and things like that, they're not diabetics themselves, and they could not possibly know how hard it is to even just do the bare minimum of insulin. I have problems with anxiety, and it took me a long ass time to just stop giving a fuck when it came to injecting insulin. I do it in the middle of I've done it in the middle of streets. I've just done it like in the middle of a goddamn mall, a food court, But that takes time to get used to, because people think you're shooting up, and it's like, well, I mean, sort of, but not with what you're thinking, unless they manufacture heroin in little glass bottles. But it's hard, and I do think that among the small positives being a type 1 diabetic has given me, it's shaped my own perspectives politically and in terms of health. Like, again, I don't want to get super political. I will eventually. It's inevitable. But, I'm very much a person of science, because science is essentially what's keeping me alive, and what created insulin in the first place, so I wouldn't drop dead after 3 months. And I don't know, I guess it's always weird when people don't put their, I don't want to use the word faith, but science is there, and science, yes, can change, is mutable, and science is something that has helped humanity a lot. It's helped me, so I don't know. I guess I don't understand when people don't, like or understand science. And it's also shaped my opinion on things like healthcare. Like a lot of people, conservative people, who don't agree with universal healthcare, and to me, it's like, why not? Are you telling me that I have to pay to not die? Something that I need, a chronic illness? It's very demoralizing up to a certain extent. And like, people hear that, and it's like, oh, you just want taxpayers to pay for everything. It's like, but that's the point of taxes, And I guess, I don't know, maybe I'm just too much of a goddamn altruist when it comes to this, but I just feel like that everyone should be able to be healthy, and not die because they can't afford something. Maybe that's me. I don't know. Will have your own opinion. So that brings me to why I woke up in the first place, aside from the fact that I had to use the bathroom. I have to eat something, because that's the other thing. I have to at least try to eat at least a couple times a day, which is the weirdest thing. It's like I don't eat and it's a problem, and I eat and then it's a problem. There's no winning when it comes to diabetes, trust me. But like I said, it's been 18 years, sort of used to it. I do have a couple of small complications currently. Mostly have some slight nerve damage in my hands and arms and my legs to a certain extent. Not debilitating, but they're there. And then they'll probably get worse as time goes on. Whoops. I do have a small amount of kidney damage. I have not taken medication for that in a long time, so it's probably gotten worse. Oops. And what else? Okay, that's actually it. I'm actually otherwise in decent shape. I've been taking better care of myself these past few weeks as I've gotten treated for depression and whatnot. I guess if someone tells you that they're diabetic, at least ask which type, and ask questions. Don't be the food police. Please don't be the fucking food police. Are you sure you're supposed to eat that cake? Shut the fuck up. I'm gonna eat the cake. And like, don't be like a weird overprotective nanny, but at least I do appreciate when people ask or like take care of me, and it's like, hey, do you need food? Are you good? Are you feeling okay? And those things I do appreciate. Just don't be on top of me 24/7, because I swear to God. Anyway, that's it for this video. I will talk about more stuff in another video. Take care, guys. Bye bye. Love you.